I'm all discombobulated.
No, I know, man. You've been traveling, and Artie, has had his time and issues, and everybody's busy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think Artie said he was coming on. We'll get into his issues later.
Yeah. If he joins us, he said he's like probably, but he's like it's got to be later, and it's like no problem.
Yeah.
So. It's cool. And Scoot's dad, he's Mr. Mom this evening because Kendra's out doing something. Spinning class, I believe. I'm kidding. It's not spinning class.
That's true.
So, he texted back. But he said he could join us late, so at least that's the plan. And if not, we'll have a lovely Franco Clanco because we got stuff to talk about.
We do?
Well, you were just weren't you just at East Coast Comic-Con or whatever the hell it was this weekend?
Yes.
Was it East Coast?
East Coast Comic Con, yes.
How is that show? Because I've heard conflicting things.
What things have you heard? I shall confirm or deny.
Well, I know podcasters were mad because they're like, well, you're not real press. And they were denied press passes, which I found very interesting. And I also know that, at least initially, I don't know if it's like this anymore, it seemed like either Kevin Smith or his network was doing like the majority of like recording panels and stuff and kind of claiming a podcast exclusivity. I mean, I guess
I can confirm all of that.
Okay.
Well, not really. No, I don't know anything about.
You don't know about anything of that stuff. All right, there you go. Fantastic. Thank you.
East Coast Comic Con is
Is it good?
It's not bad. It's not. No, I don't want to say because it's not. It's not a. It's right across the waterways there from New York in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Yeah, sure.
So
CNBC country. Go on.
We would think with the proximity it would be gangbusters like attendance, but it's not. It's kind of a small subdued show, and it's weird because this year I got there on a Friday. Mm-hmm. And it was, I got there late because it opens up at 2 on Friday, and I got there about 4 because I was running late.
Okay.
From the day job stuff.
Sure.
And it was super, super packed. It was like the most crowded I'd ever seen it. It was weird. And I'm like, oh, wow. And then it kind of died out, and then Saturday was not as crowded.
Interesting.
Which was weird.
Yeah.
Usually it's flipped, and Saturday's the really crowded day. But it was, it was a good show. But then, it's like middle of the day type thing. Like morning, it's like everybody lined up to go see George Perez.
Nice. Nice.
And then in the afternoon, it was kind of flowing and people were around. And then in the evening, it would, like 3 or 4 o'clock, everything would kind of die out. It's weird, But I did okay. And got to talk to some people. And
did you see George?
I did see him for a split second, but I didn't get to talk to him.
Okay, because I'm really glad he's kind of taken the Pro Tour victory lap because I think it's great and it gives everybody a chance to say goodbye and thank him and the whole schmear. While he's again healthy enough and everything, and I get that he's retiring, and I'm glad. Of course, we might see him at Terrificon as well then August if all goes well. But I just want to make sure he can handle it, and that
And Marv Wolfman was supposed to show up, but he suffered a fall before it came out.
I heard, yes.
So he can come out, yeah.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. Hats off to Marv, man.
Mm.
So Marv's finally warmed up to me in the last couple of years. I think he got used to me and saw me. Exactly. Exactly. Because he used to look at me kind of like, why are you hanging with Art and Franco all the time, and why should I need to know who you are? And then we did a couple of panels at conventions, and it's like, okay, now he kind of knows who I am.
Oh, you're a professional, John?
That guy. No. Hey, man.
You know what you're talking about? Is that no? I mean, I'm him.
I understand, but that's what I'm saying, man. There's no pretense on my part, certainly, and none of the pros are obligated to know who I am. But yeah, I mean, I interviewed the guy in my first year of Word Balloon, and have pretty much consistently seen him at conventions for the last 13 years. So it's like, yeah, I'm kind of around. And not just one city, I pop up all over.
Round as a shape, yes.
Sure, exactly. That counts. Exactly. So, so no, you did okay. That's good. Any pod fans at East Coast Comic Con?
Yes, couple
good.
People, actually.
Good.
And it's more of a subdued show, so you don't have that nighttime, New York Comic Con or San Diego thing where like, hey, let's grab dinner and have a meeting and let's do this and do that. It was very laid back. My wife came down, and we went to dinner, just the two of us every night. So it was kind of like a fun little mini vacation, work thing. So it was,
that's cool.
Yeah.
You know the nice eateries of Secaucus and all? Secaucus?
Oh, yeah. They got some awesome places. Like there's the Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, jeez. This place, I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called Bennigan's. I hear good things. That's like the old lady that a couple of years ago that I forget what small town she was from, and she had never seen an Olive Garden before, and it was an elderly lady. She's like, they're very good, and it was really cute, and it totally went viral because it was this like very earnest like oh, I was delighted, it was actually very good, and she had had no idea it was a franchise and everything. So yeah, very funny. I get it. I get it. Hey, I gotta say, Eric Caruso, I believe or Carrasco, excuse me, who wrote the Justice League Fatal 5 cartoon movie and was a story editor for 3 seasons on Supergirl. I just recorded a word balloon with him. It'll be coming out in the next few days. And because of that, I really caught up on this last season of Supergirl, including the finale. God damn, it was good.
Ooh.
Wow. Yes, I swore on purpose. It was really, really good. I don't know if you are aware of what happened. I don't know if you're aware of what happened on Supergirl this year.
No.
If Alan Arkin can interject.
I'll probably watch it, when it comes to Netflix in about 3 or 4 years. Or
let's until the deal with the CW, because I don't know if CBS owns part of the CW or not. I thought they did.
I thought they did too.
That's not good then, because right now there's a real anger issue between the Netflix and CBS right now, and part of it stems from my favorite show to hate. You're a little more charitable about the show, but I know you've had your issues as well. Star Trek Discovery, they weren't crazy about that second season. And Short Treks, CBS tried to sell that to them at an additional cost, and it's like Netflix is like, not interested, and they kept knocking it down, and finally they gave up and just gave it to Netflix, and Netflix even put it in like the special features, like, scroll down on season 2. Like, it's like, no, it's not even worth its own little like separate card or whatever, or like mini season. It's like, no, this blows. Here's Discovery, and not a cheap show, and they certainly took the front end of the costs of the first season, and it got so bad that I don't know if which came first, but the new Star Trek Picard series that
Pickard
that Patrick Stewart's doing at the end of the year or beginning of next year, depending on how scheduling goes. It's not even going to be internationally. It's not going to be on Netflix. It's going to be on Amazon Prime.
Ooh,
yeah.
Really?
So I don't know if things broke down between CBS and Netflix, and then CBS went after Amazon Prime and took it as far as being a partner, and I'm sure some sort of funding, or CBS knowing that they were mad about Star Trek Discovery. Immediately said, hey, anybody want Picard? And then Amazon jumped first, and because of that, Netflix has decided to sever ties. But no, I do know, I'm gonna look up the story to confirm that the existing CW and CBS shows are going to be pulled from Netflix as soon as the contract expires. So I'll look it up while we're talking.
Those are DC shows, so wouldn't they go to the DC streaming? Or
I would think so. I would absolutely think so. Yeah, the Warner streaming thing that's coming out later. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know when, I mean, they haven't announced when, when that's going to start. So they haven't, like, unlike, whatchamacallit, where, Disney has already announced it. It's coming in November, I believe. Disney Plus.
Yeah, and it's going to be cheaper than Netflix.
Yes, yeah, only like $6 or $7 a month. Here's the story. It's from Deadline. The CW Netflix deal not being renewed with networks' new shows to be shopped individually. When the first output deal between Netflix and the CW parents, CBS and Warner Brothers, was announced in 2011, that makes sense. The C is CBS, the W is Warner Brothers. It was hailed as groundbreaking. But the 3 new series, Batwoman, Nancy Drew, and Riverdale spinoff, Katie Keene, are being shopped for streaming deals individually by their respective studios. Batwoman, part of the DC Arrowverse on the CW, is solely owned by Warner Brothers TV. Nancy Drew by CBS Studios. Katie Keene is produced by Warner Brothers TV, not to be confused. Well, yeah, that's it. With financial participation, extra T there, of CBS Studios under the company's joint venture agreement to co-produce CW series, not based on owner IP.
Mm. So, there's a lot of industry jargon there, Johnny.
Yeah, I know. But if you could follow it, no, I mean, really, I am like completely fascinated by. I usually am as a broadcaster by all this behind the scenes stuff. But like, did you know Netflix was mortgaged up to the hilt?
No, I
didn't either. And wouldn't you think, with a subscriber base of like either 150 million or 180 million,
that they would pay off their mortgage by now?
Well, that they wouldn't need a mortgage, and that they were like, cashing in, at $10 a pop. Isn't that like $1.5 billion like a month? Am I, right? Is he right?
Yeah. Well, let me get the calculator out.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hurt your head.
Yeah.
I was promised there'd be no math today.
I was told there was no math today.
Exactly. God, that's like I was at the game with all my friends, and one of them had how much dirt would a hole 36 inches by 36 inches by 36 inches have? And it's like, I don't care. Nothing because it's a hole. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Pardon me. See, it's Franco Clanco, so I'll drop my F-bombs.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
That's quickly on the Franco Clanco.
But Supergirl was exceptional. I won't spoil then. Honestly, it was great talking to Eric. He also wrote for Justice League Action. That short-lived but incredibly good 11-minute show that was on for one season. And thank God they made like 50 of them. Eventually, I keep forgetting to look. While we're talking again, maybe I should look at my DC Universe stream and see if Justice League Action is there. It should be, because they're great. They're really... And I didn't know... Did you know Patton Oswalt played Space Cabbie on the Justice League Action cartoons?
Yes.
I did not know. I did not know that. Now, somebody told me backstage. I don't know if this is true. That's the usual beginning of Carson, one of the writers. Ask him about his new movie. Now, somebody told me backstage. I don't know who it was. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't. Hey, man, I just went through a big a exuberant burst of an opening for you.
It was great. I had to.
So what do you
sit back and just listen to it. Yeah, nothing.
No.
I went to East Coast Comic Con and it was an okay show.
That's
good. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Val Kilmer was there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. How's he looking? Is he puffy still, or is he slimmed down again? And actually, how's his health?
I think slimmed down, but he was behind the curtains, so nobody got to see him.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have to make Mitch, force an introduction for us at Terrificon. He's going to be there, and of course, my new friend Robert Wool, and Arliss, and for those listening, and of course Knox in the '89 Batman movie, and of course Billy D is going to be there.
I listened to your Robert Wool interview.
How'd I do?
It was good.
Okay, because I did. I mean, I could tell I was bordering, if not crossing the line of Chris Farley territory of, remember that time you did that thing? That was awesome. Do it again. Do it now. I like.
No, that was fun. Okay. I like that.
Okay.
And I also, I don't want to pay you a compliment, but I guess I have to, just because it was a real good interview.
Thanks.
It was you get to the behind the scenes stuff, and I like that. You do your homework, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, honestly, the few celebrity interviews, and when I say celebrity, I mean guys like Robert and Tim Matheson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's like, I'm a fan of these people. And it's like, half the time, with the exception of knowing that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is writing Sherlock Holmes fan fiction, obviously, but thankfully knew it in time for the interview. Thank you, Francis. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of these guys, and I am fascinated by their career trails, and especially Robert Wuhl, who was just another '80s stand-up guy before he really caught on and started getting his movie and mostly movie roles, and then wasn't a movie star by the time Arliss happened, and Arliss is, and I know you're an Arliss fan as well. Arliss wasn't Larry Sanders, and it's certainly not Curb Your Enthusiasm or Barry or any of the prime HBO comedies that you can name, but it was a solid show and certainly achieved what it wanted to in terms of, being a sitcom about being a sports agent, and had the cooperation of the entire sports world also, and actually was capable of, I think, some really good episodes. And we talked about that Ed Asner episode. And truly, that's the thing. It's like, I saw that, when it was live, and probably a couple reruns. Haven't seen it in 20 years. But shit like that sticks with you, Again, swearing too much. But it does. And that's the thing. At least I do. And this is, my nerd, depending on if you like it or not, a superpower or a curse, is, that stuff really gets burned in my brain. And it's like, that was really cool. And even the Krista Allen, I have to admit, Krista Allen is still flying, by the way, however old she is now. Yes. But I've always, I have to admit, I have always been a Krista Allen fan in everything, including her Smallville episode, where she's Clark's art teacher, and it makes his heat vision kick in. That's the Kryptonian boner. My heat vision just kicked in, I assume. Boing. And that's the greatest scene is when they're in the cornfield, him and Jonathan puts up the scarecrow. Now, start thinking about what you were thinking about it, in school when the heat vision happened. Boing! Then he just starts laughing, all right, my son's a man. Everything's fine. So, but anyway, that's a great episode. It is. It's cute. And, obviously it's great to see Krista Allen in very little clothing. But it was.
She's an incarnation of Emmanuel somewhere. Right?
I believe that's correct. I'm reasonably certain that's correct. And also a former...
Is she the one in space or the other one?
I think you're right. I think she was Emmanuel in space! And a George Clooney girlfriend for a long time.
Was she really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I'm surprised that you didn't know that.
Another reason to hate George Clooney.
I'm telling you. Well, as we're talking, and we can talk about it with the guys and what they think.
The Batman suit.
Well, Robert Pattinson. Yeah, Robert Pattinson. It's like, sure, why not?
You know what I think? I think people need to stop making petitions for things.
Yeah, no kidding. I know. I wanted to talk to you about that too. Go ahead.
It's so stupid. The petition for changing Star Wars, the petition for Game of Thrones, and you know what? I'm annoyed with the Game of Thrones stuff as well. Because
you watched it, and honestly, I wanted to give you a chance. So go talk. Yes.
Well, I watched it, but I've been feeling this way for a long time. But I think for some reason, maybe I'm just seeing it. But Sunday into Monday, it was, I think, permanently cemented for me in that in this digital age, there is no more spoiler free.
No, there isn't. No, there's no. Of course not.
And I think Sunday night was the nail in the coffin. It was the death knell because I remember reading tweets immediately after with people spoiling stuff, and that's nothing new on Twitter or Facebook and stuff like that. But The next morning I got up for work and I turned on the TV and it happened to be tuned to CNN. And the first thing that comes up is they're talking about the ending of Game of Thrones.
Wow.
And they gave it away.
Wow.
And I was like that's there was no pretense of this is a spoiler or whatever. They just went right into it. And then
they need a frame around the screen that says spoilers when they're doing that. So if you come into it late.
But then they showed the scene. I don't know if we're spoiling here. Are we spoiling? Do we even have to say spoilers anymore?
It doesn't. Well, it means nothing to me. I would assume it's Tuesday. It's the Tuesday after the final episode. Yeah, and I mean the likelihood is I might put this out. I might put this out tonight. I also might put this out in a day or 2 or 20. So go ahead.
Okay,
spoil.
If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, spoilers. Okay,
go ahead.
But there's the ending scene where Jon Snow goes in and confronts Daenerys, and he tells her that she's always going to be his queen and he's going to love her forever. And then as he's kissing her, he kills her.
Wow. Cool.
They showed that on CNN.
Okay. And ACI. Good. Go on.
They showed it, and I'm like,
wow. Yeah, that's
not even 24 hours after it aired.
That's lousy. No, I agree with you, man. That's totally lousy.
And
no, they don't care.
As
man.
Someone who loves to watch stories unfold organically as you're watching it, I can't. It's. I don't know. My head hurts.
I hear you, buddy. Well, I remember James Bond Skyfall, the morning of the first Friday. So it's just in theaters. Obviously, there might have been Thursday night screenings, but it's kind of the same thing, only even in that it's in the movie theaters. And immediately, Huffington Post had a front page story about and they did put a spoiler header on it, but still, we're like, the death of M. Let's talk about it. And it's like, really? Fuck you. Again, sorry.
But again, that I get that, and it's been building to that, but that was one place. That was the HuffPost, and there was a spoiler cap on it.
Oh, but I guarantee you, I mean, that was just the tip of the iceberg.
I'm saying it wasn't only CNN. It was everywhere.
No, I know.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind that this is the way it is from now on.
Yeah. No,
so
you have to.
God forbid, if you want to watch anything or you're behind on anything,
go to the beach, read a book, stay away for a couple of days. Honestly, that's
not even, because then everywhere you turn, there's some idiot who's just catching up, who'll put it up somewhere or say something.
Or they have a different angle about it, because I noticed the Hollywood Reporter today had a headline that said, "Will the divide over the reception to the Game of Thrones finale hurt them at the Emmys?" And it's like, shut up. Like, who cares? Again, this is, well, honestly, and it is a different thing, because we're talking about spoilers. But this is what I'm talking about, where I have this tug of war about talking about movies before they come out. And so many podcasts and YouTube people and mainstream media people, this is their, meat and potatoes. And I guess with Word Balloon, I've been around long enough. I am established. I have a core of an audience. I suppose it would grow if I went into this kind of daily speculation or daily spoilers or whatever. And it's just like, I don't want to do that. I don't like doing that. And it's that same thing of, like, when we were talking and it was after Infinity War. And what would, before we knew it was Endgame, what's going to happen in Endgame? And it's like, just, how about we wait a year and see what they got for us next May, and then we'll talk.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't, and again,
the speculation stuff I get, it's different. And I can deal with that, because 9 times out of 10, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Well, that's what I mean. Exactly.
And if they're guessing at this or that or the other thing, it's just what we're all doing in our head.
Right.
I get that. But to come out within minutes, or within hours of the finale of the show, and they just tell you what happens, I was just dumbstruck.
I hear you, man. No, and especially because it's one thing if you're a regular reader at The Beat, let's say, and the Beat tweets out, hey, if you saw it and want to hear what we think within an hour of it airing, fine. That's fine. That's enough of a warning before you come in. But like you said, I mean, just to pop on CNN and, and all right, listen, right after they talk about me, we're going to get into Game of Thrones, all right? I think it's terrible how they put everything. I want Jon Snow. I want him on notice. I like Kit Kittredge. He made a movie that was an extension of literally my favorite.
Kit Kittredge?
Isn't that his name?
Isn't it Kit Harington?
Or Kit Harington? Can I call
Kit Kittredge is that series of young lady novels or something.
I'm really glad you corrected me and pointed out what it really is. And I love that. I love when I do shit like that. Maybe it's old man stuff. I have no idea, but something goes in my brain, and it's like, yeah, that's his name. Sure, it is. Of course, it is. Have
we been doing this podcast for like 10 years? I don't know. Like,
close to it, like 9 years, I think. We started I want to say 2010.
Because I love how the swearing has just become, we're all bent down. We don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's at least the start of this is a Franco Clanco, so all bets are off. I don't know. I mean, again, no offense, parents that are listening, and earmuffs. I'm sorry. I can't help it. Filters off. I can't help it. That is old man disease. But he was in. Kit Harington was in Spooks: The Common Good, which is a movie that is based on, and I think it was alternatively titled MI5: The Greater Good. And it's my favorite British spy television show of the modern age. It was very 24. It's about MI5, which is their FBI, basically their domestic intelligence in England, and was a lot of terrorism subjects and stuff in the post 9/11 world. And it ran for 10 seasons on British television. And for a while, A&E had the rights to show it in America. That's when I got hooked on it. And, Kit Harington played the lead spy in a movie. And I think
Kittredge, American Girl.
Exactly. That's right. It is American Girl. So, Kit Kittredge, American Game of Thrones. He played the lead spy in it, in the movie. And I think it was I guess it was during Game of Thrones. But again, British actors, they don't just do one thing. It's like, I'm going to play, and I'm going to do a movie, and I'll do a TV thing. So, but he was great. And so, I kind of, even though I didn't know about Jon Snow's character arc, I was, rooting for him as an actor, and I'm like, I like that guy. And I'm like, eventually I'll watch Game of Thrones. And especially with that ending, did you ever see from the 70s, I, Claudius?
I saw bits and pieces of it on PBS, but I never watched it, no.
It used to, somebody put it up on YouTube, and I swear it is totally worth watching. It's an early 70s British television show that was shown on Masterpiece Theater in America, back in the day. But it's, Patrick Stewart's in it. All the top British actors and actresses made this. John Hurt is in it. He plays Caligula. And
I remember that, yeah.
And it's all about the Roman emperors from Augustus Caesar, who was the grandson of Julius Caesar, through Nero. And Claudius was and he was a real historic character. He had a club foot and he had a stammer, according to historians and the records of the time, but was a very effective emperor and was considered a family idiot, but was actually very smart despite these, handicaps, disabilities. And it's a great story. And Derek Jacobi, who played Cadfael on another great British series and wonderful British character actor. He's in Dead Again with, Emma Thompson and what's his face?
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh, exactly. So,
directed.
Yes, great director, great actor. No, I love Derek Jacobi, and he's in one of my favorite Frasier episodes that nerds can appreciate, where he's at a sci-fi con, and he's known for playing a robot character in a series decades ago, and he's an old British actor. And when Fraser and Niles were in school, he came to their school and gave a speech about, how great Shakespeare is, and really ignited their interest in Shakespeare. And they remember him as a fine actor, but as usual, your childhood memories may vary. And when they decided to give him a chance to do a one man play of reciting Shakespeare's speeches and stuff, soliloquies, and they realize how terrible of an actor he is. But it's great because he's totally playing it over the top. And he's like, yes, my years as a robot taught me this, whatever. He's answering, these questions. And it's like Galaxy Quest. It's like Alan Rickman in Galaxy Quest just having to answer all the sci-fi questions at the Comic-Con. Very, very funny. And he was Claudius. But Brian Blessed from Flash Gordon, Voltan, he plays Augustus Caesar, and Patrick Stewart played the captain of the guards under Tiberius. Tiberius was George Baker, who was in James Bond's On Her Majesty's Secret Service and a lot of 60s and 70s, really through the 2000s, British TV and films. Great cast, amazing cast. The woman who played Clash of the Titans, she played Hera. And I always forget this British actress's name, but she's I know
you're talking about it. Name escapes me.
We should look that up. She plays Livia, the wife of Augustus Caesar and the mother of Tiberius, and she is the biggest backstabber of them all. And that's the thing; it's literally like a Roman soap opera of just like Game of Thrones, and that's what I'd heard is that kind of royalty intrigue is all over I, Claudius as well. So if you're a Game of Thrones fan, I can point you to this I, Claudius. And it was acted on videotape. It's great. I'm telling you, it's really, really amazing. And it's a period piece, so you won't have to get hung up on bad polyester and leisure suits and bad sideburns and crap like that. But also it's great because Patrick Stewart, I have curly brown hair.
I have hair.
Exactly.
Number one, tease my hair.
Exactly. Number one, get me my fro pick. And,
my fro pick.
And if you would please assume the character of Jerome in The Time as I play my own version of Morris Day as I primp for my next scene. Thank you. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
All right, good.
Unfortunately.
Say if you're a Prince fan, you know what I'm talking about. Hell, if you're a Morris Day and The Time fan. Do you have Cinemax, that movie channel?
Cinemax?
Yes, sir. There's a great show that's had 2 seasons on Cinemax in the last couple of years.
Strike Back?
I love that show. I honestly, I was going to Comic-Con panels for Strike Back. That's how much I love Strike Back. Seriously.
He's a loser.
Oh, dude. Now you've opened up a new tangent, but that is an incredibly great military terrorist fighting action show, and has more kill shots to the head than it's great. It is definitely an R-rated action show. So if you don't, if you think normal TV is too tame and stuff, it's like Strike Back has you covered. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I'll confess I haven't watched it since the original or the second duo, because originally it was about one guy, one actor, one special forces agent, but then it became the duos, and the first duo were my favorite, and they did it for like 4 years. They were very good. But anyway, no, I was going to say Tales from the Tour Bus, which is Mike Judge, King of the Hill, and Beavis and Butthead. He does these real interviews with musicians and all the people that work for musicians. So, like, the first season was all country music people. So in addition to the occasional musician that he was discussing, they would also have tour managers and costumers and especially with Nashville people, hairdressers and stuff. And they all had they're all stories about them out of control. Celebrities out of control. Too drugged up, too drunk, breaking the law, almost breaking the law, getting a pass because they're celebrities. And just
breaking the law.
Yeah.
Breaking the law.
Hell-raising. Yeah, really hell-raising. And funny as hell. And the first season was all about country stars. The second season was all about R&B and hip-hop stars. And they have an episode about Morris Day and The Time and how they happened and how he happened. and how Prince went from helping them out and getting them started to hating them and feeling very...
why did he hate them?
Well, he just felt very threatened by Morris Day's, like, immediate, oh my God, like, he's hilarious, and, you know, all the heat behind the time and all their songs, like Jungle Love, AwYeah163 I was a big-time fan. I thought they were fantastic. They were fun.
Yeah. I like to watch him perform, yeah.
Oh, my God. The dancing and Jerome with the mirror, and the whole thing about Jerome and his involvement, because he didn't play any instruments. The instrument he played was the mirror, holding the mirror.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's really they're fan, and Morris Day absolutely participated in that one. They did one out with Bootsy Collins, and Bootsy Collins is like, I really don't remember 1971 because I was doing a lot of drugs at the time, and it's like,
I believe it.
Exactly. Amazing stuff about Rick James. And again, another person that had his...
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Exactly, but another guy who had his run-ins with Prince, and Prince did not like and tried really hard to compete with Rick James. Very interesting. Both, I mean, I'm not a big country music fan per se. I was completely riveted by this show to the point where every time I see Jason Aaron, who is like country music amateur historian, I'm like, you've got to watch this show. You will love it. The stuff about Johnny Paycheck and Chet Akins, and actually Chet Akins is one of the good guys, but Jerry Lee Lewis and Merle Haggard and all of them. Oh my God. Just fascinating. Really amazing. Tales from the Tour Bus on Cinemax. I cannot recommend it enough. They're half-hour episodes, and they're animated, but they're the real people. And they kind of look the way that the adults do in Beavis and Butthead, more so than... Well, I guess they kind of look King of the Hillish as well. But they are, at least in the Mike Judge animation style, an attempt to do real resemblances to the people that they're interviewing. So it's really, really good. And you just have great country music hair and, you know, guys with, you know, hair that look like Aunt Joni from the 1970s or whatever. Far too long. Not even a mullet. I mean, this is like full-on shoulder-length hair. The closer you get, the further I fall. Alabama.
I don't, is this on Showtime, you said?
No. Cinemax.
Cinemax.
Yeah.
So, yeah, same difference.
No, I understand.
It's gotten to be too many.
But I have to say, to all these film-based cable stations' credit, God, even Epix has like good dramas, like Berlin Station. Stars. They all have really good shows.
I heard really good things about that. Get Shorty.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And another one, and you'll, as a Star Trek fan, you'll appreciate this. The friends I stay with in New York when I go to Comic-Con. The two playwrights that are married, they love Outlander. And,
right.
And Ron Moore, who was one of the main Star Trek writers for a long time, and then went on to do the reboot of Galactica.
I love Galactica.
He's the showrunner for Outlander, and I didn't realize, but Ira Steven Behr, who was the showrunner for Deep Space Nine, he writes on Outlander these days with Ron Moore. And it's like, well, geez, they've got like two great Star Trek writers there, and they're, you know. I also saw, by the way, what We Left Behind, which is the DS9 documentary. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's not out on anything streaming yet, right?
Not yet. It'll be in August. It'll come out early August. It'll be on Blu-ray, and I imagine it will be available like iTunes streaming and to pay to stream it. It was amazing. Honestly, it was so good. And I want to
see that.
And you definitely do, because they get a writers' room together of like 5 of the original writers, and they're like, okay, so if we were to do a new season today and acknowledge that 20 years have passed or 25 years have passed, what would our first story be? Or our first episode? And man, I want to see that season. It is, really? Oh my God. Yes, it is such a good idea, and again, compared to what we got on Star Trek Discovery, they all should be ashamed of themselves. They all should be ashamed of themselves.
You just like that show so
with
much.
A passion. Honestly,
I have to catch up. I've been so behind.
Are you like halfway through second season? Where are you?
I saw when she spoilers. She rescued Spock, and they're going somewhere.
Oh yeah. You haven't even seen the next episode,
No.
which honestly.
No.
I'll even say that was my favorite episode of the second season. And again, I still was shaking my fist at it, but I'd say half of what they did on that episode I really liked. If and you've seen enough of it for me to say this, Anson Mount as Christopher Pike was excellent.
Oh, he's amazing.
And it should tell you how stupid these people are, because here's some more behind the scenes scuttlebutt. They didn't like the way he was playing Christopher Pike. They thought he was underplaying him, and that he wasn't doing anything with the character. And it's like the subtlety of his performance completely escaped them. And it's like, no, man, this guy has gravitas. This character has gravitas. He is an icon in Star Trek lore. He's like our Abe Lincoln. He really is. It's like you don't want Abe Lincoln breaking into the Macarena all of a sudden, or whatever. I don't know why the Macarena came to mind. I couldn't think of anything more obnoxious, like a more obnoxious dance for Abe Lincoln to do. But yeah, he was great, and I'm sure all the post-Discovery hype, if there's anything positive that everyone kind of universally agrees with, it's that Christopher Pike was awesome. We want a Christopher Pike series.
Yeah, that I would watch.
But he already said that he's definitely not in season 3 of Discovery unless things suddenly change. So yeah. I mean, I won't go further because you haven't seen it, so you won't know.
Yeah.
But back to Pickard. Did you see the 5-second teaser?
No.
Oh, it's out there. Because they had all the networks had their upfronts for the advertisers, including CBS All Access, and they showed literally a 5-second scene, but it is him talking to a different, another person, and it's like, all right, I'm like, I as angry as I am, and it is the same producers and writers that are making this Pickard series. I'm optimistic, and they claim it's going to be a very different tone. And, it's going to be a smaller show because I think the majority of the budget's probably going to pay Patrick Stewart a decent amount of money to do it. But I think you can effectively make an interesting Logan-esque Picard story that if they wanted to be Patrick Stewart was saying that the initial plan was that it would be a 3-season story.
And that's it.
And again, the guy is 78. It's like he's not a young man. I think he's in tremendous shape. But they would
do it's shorter seasons, right? Or 10 episodes.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'm sure they would be. I can only shoot from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Yeah, whatever you need, Sir Patrick, no problem. I'm sure they make it
8 a.m. I must do number 2.
Number 1.
I won't be available for an hour. So.
I require a Sunday New York Times by my side while I take that break. Yes, sir, Patrick. No, and I don't even know if Michael Chabon, the wonderful writer of Wonder Boys and Cavalier and Clay, and even that one good short trek from what they showed us before the second season started called Calypso, he was part of the writing staff. I don't know if he still is, because all the big rumors were whatever their first plan was for the series, nobody liked it. The other problem with Discovery is it's not selling toys. No toys. If I could be the Burgermeister for a second. And that's kind of important in these things. The merch. And nobody wants Star Trek Discovery merch. So as much as the fans love the show and everything, outside of the homemade stuff they're doing, it's like...
But what kind of merch could they want for Star Trek Discovery? At least, Next Generation, whatever was on the independent channel circuit, so kids would watch it and stuff like that. So, the what's the word I'm looking for? The high end the collectability. People aren't going to be shelling a lot of money for this.
Well,
not everybody's watching it. Not everybody's shelling out the money to watch this thing.
Well, you're right about that, but also, wouldn't you think that like a no-brainer would be to have people wanting? I know Eagle Moss made Discovery starships and the Shinzu, which is the first ship that Michelle Yeoh captains and Michael Burnham is an officer on, or even the Enterprise design, which is different than the JJ movies and what we got on TV and the like and everything. So, and the movies and the original series movies for that matter. You would think that there'd be some sort of market for those like basic things, or hey, here's young Spock from Discovery. Here's Christopher. I mean, even after this season. But
I gotta tell you, the young Spock,
yeah,
he's kind of hot.
I'd do him. I'd do him. No, he's kind of hot. Well, he's Gregory Peck's grandson, so he's got good genes.
Gregory Peckery. That's what he's
exactly.
called.
Hello. I don't know if you knew this, but my grandson is Mr. Spock. I'm dead, by the way. I love Greg Peck. There's a great Turner Classic Movies documentary about Gregory Peck, where it would intercut scenes from his great movies with his old one-man show where he, hello, I'm touring, I'm Greg Peck. Maybe you'd like to see some highlights of my career while I answer questions. And they had the kid who played Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird, and she's, like 48 or whatever in the documentary. It's okay. Time passes. She's great, and it was so cool that, like, they stayed friends, like, well after the movie, and he really did care about her and stayed in her life and everything. And I was like, oh, isn't that adorable? I love stuff like that. I love hearing that, like, like Andy Griffith and Ronnie Howard. Now Ronnie. I love that. And man, when they did that Obama commercial and they're at the fishing hole, it's like, oh my God. That was awesome. Little Opie Cunningham, a sex machine. I love that stuff. So I don't know. But I am optimistic for Pickard. I think they can do it, and I hope they do it well. I'm a lot, because some people have already started hating, and they don't like the uniforms that they saw in this little teaser. It's 5 seconds, but you do get a taste of, okay, this is what they're doing. Because at first it was like they showed a photo leaked of a long shot of them shooting, and clearly they're in like a Starfleet space station or headquarters or whatever. So you see people in what look like Next Generation style or Voyager style uniforms. And I heard some like old fans are like, God, I mean, it's supposed to be 20 years after Nemesis. Don't you think they'd update the uniforms in some way? And it's like, oh, Jesus, relax. And then I watched, and then you see a clear example of one of the uniforms in this 5-second teaser, and then it's like, oh God, I hate the way the uniforms look. And it's like, well, then wait a minute, it's reminiscent of the stuff we got in the 90s, but it's different enough that if this whole notion that whatever JJ makes, he's under that license, that it has to be 25% different from what's come before. I don't know why. I have no idea why. I could see where he'd want it to be different so he could make money from toys. No toys. But regardless, I'm like, well, which way is it? Because these do look like they could be updated Starfleet uniforms 20 years later. I don't know. Did you finish watching The Orville?
I did. I'm all caught up with The Orville.
And? Second season?
And I'm just...
Still sucks, huh?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think they made a big leap forward. I really liked that episode.
I do think they made a big leap forward. It's still that, what bugs me about it is that forced, uncomfortable humor. I love Family Guy. I love the humor.
Yeah.
It's not all hits there either. They miss the mark sometimes. I get it. But on Orville, every time they just tried to be funny, it just falls so flat for me.
You didn't like when I can't even remember his name now. The same-sex aliens, and I can't remember the Worf. The Worf character But like Bortus, thank you. Bortus, when Bortus and his mate when they discover his life partner when they discovered smoking. You didn't think that was funny? I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was very. I just like when they go on, like they either went into their quarters or they went on the bridge, and Boris just turns around. He's got a cigarette dangling from his lips. That just cracked me up. I thought that was very funny, and also them getting addicted and the withdrawals that they had. I thought that was really funny.
No.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
I didn't find it funny.
And
this whole thing of the other thing that bothers me about this is Battlestar Galactica, in a sense, I loved it because they were in their own time. It wasn't this whole thing like, well, back on Earth in 2019, this is what they would do. Orville is constantly doing that.
That's true.
It's constantly going back and picking up stuff from 2020 or 2019, and I'm like, just live in your own world at this point,
Well,
when they have a feminist and Dolly Parton comes on,
that made me laugh.
I found that slightly humorous.
I thought that was, especially her excitement and being like, "This is a battle cry."
Right.
All right.
Well, how many years in the future is this? And
how about when they were watching Seinfeld in the first season?
McFarlane is listening to all this old crap and all these movies, and it's come on.
See, I take that as another, in two ways. One, that's because I understand, because that was exactly my problem with iRobot, the Will Smith reboot of iRobot, which has nothing to do with the original short story and incredible Outer Limits adaptation of said story. Both the original Outer Limits and even the 90s Outer Limits both had good versions of that story, with Leonard Nimoy in both versions, actually. But yeah, because Will Smith is playing Superstition by Stevie Wonder, and it's supposed to be like 2050 or whatever. And I said the same thing. I'm like, that's like a hip hop guy putting some spats on and strutting to some Dixieland 1920s jazz in modern day, and it's like, I don't think so. I'm sorry, I don't buy that. But I think it's two things. I think one, it grounds the show in a way that the network would probably say, well, can you make it a little more relatable to a general audience and not just be a big Star Trek riff and everything? Is there other ways you can do that? I think I think either they consciously might be writing with that in mind, or that might even be a network suggestion that they're like, we can do that. And it's easy, but I agree with you, because it's what bothers me. I like A Million Ways to Die in the West, his Western. Seth MacFarlane's Western with Charlize Theron and what's his face? I Have Many Skills.
Yeah, I hated that movie.
Well, I understand. I get it, because I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think there's a lot wrong with that movie.
I don't think it's a movie.
It's wise ass after.
It's not a perfect movie. I don't know.
There's a story. Yeah, but there's a story there.
Yeah, but it sucks.
It's a dumb story. Yeah, no. I agree, and especially and also when they try to pull at your heartstrings, you're like, all right, it's a Seth MacFarlane comedy. Get back to the farting, please. Whatever. But I'd say it's the same thing that I feel there was of course, the horrible movie that the South Park guys made, Basketball. There's I'd say 20% of that movie is funny. There's 40% that just sits there, and then there's 40% that's completely unfunny. And that's how I feel about A Million Ways to Die in the West, only I'd say it's about a third of each. And that's where the Orville does drag, is when they force, or it's not even, to me, bad humor, it's just nothing. And there are times, when they're just kind of, and you and I have talked about it, where they'll get into, when they were playing PlayStation in one episode this season. And it was all about, I can't work the control. And it was just, kind of a slice of real life kind of conversation that I'm sure a lot of us have had. But it wasn't funny. It just wasn't funny. And it's like, this isn't, and it's funny because it's, did this ever happen to you? And it's like, I get it, but it's too observational and not funny enough. Where's the funny? But I liked the redheaded guy, the helmsman falling in love with what's her face, who I've always been in love with as well, and she's from her iPhone, and they kind of use the hologram to create her person and everything. I thought that was a fun story. I liked it. It was a charming sci-fi trope. It was very much like Her and what's another movie like that? I mean, it's a classic, kind of like in that first season when they're stuck in the alien zoo. It's like, okay, that's a good spin on kind of a classic sci-fi trope. I'm cool with that. And yeah, I mean, I liked it. The kids were less annoying as the season progressed. I don't really give a damn about the Doctor's kids, frankly. I think they could be really annoying, and especially at the age that they're at, that they're portrayed in the show. It's like, okay, can we get back to the action and the funny? But I really liked the two-parter with Isaac when Isaac's people came after him, and all of a sudden Isaac's people are assholes. Pardon me. But I mean, yeah, I thought the effects were great. I mean, and then that's the other thing. I think when they really opened up their budget, I think the space action scenes were incredible. I know they were very, very good, including the last episode. I thought was great with the alternate universe and everything. No, honestly, I really think the second season from start to finish kept getting better as the season progressed, and I'm very optimistic for season 3 and relieved that we're getting a season 3, because again, with Fox blowing up, who knows what will stay and what'll go, and I'm glad that they're at least giving it one more year.
Yeah, will it happen or?
I thought they already renewed it.
Yeah,
I will look it up
because I know that our friend.
By the way, Chris Allen, yes, was Manuel in space.
See,
so absolutely. No, I agreed with you.
Our buddy there, David Peterson, had his mouse project.
Isn't that? I know. Oh, that was so sad. I love David, and man, Mouse Guard is so ripe for a giant kids audience to really get excited about it. It is just heartbreaking. So, May 11th, 2019, it's official. Seth MacFarlane's sci-fi adventure, The Orville, will return for a third season on Fox. It received approval for $15.8 million in the latest rounds of TV tax credits for a third season. I don't know what that means.
I don't know, a lot of industry jargon there, Johnny.
Well, what I was going to say is here, listen to the audience. In its first season, it averaged 10.7 million total viewers. In multi-platform audiences, up 149% from its live same-day delivery. So that was their 10.7, and then they what do they have? 2.92 million viewers in live same day, and all right, I'm very confused. I don't know about these numbers, but regardless, I thought it said the numbers went up, but I don't know. I could be wrong. But regardless, they're very happy, and I'm glad it's renewed, and that's fantastic because again, and I can see them wrapping it up after next year because I know it's not a cheap show to make, but unlike Discovery, they got all the next generation behind the scenes people that know how to make sci-fi action on a budget and right to make sure that they stay under budget. I mean, that's one of the big problems with Discovery, and that's one of the reasons why Netflix bailed. It's a really expensive show. It's like over $10 million bucks an episode. And it's like, okay, you're great at the special effects. How about the goddamn story? and they suck. They suck. I'm sorry, it's not interesting. And again, it's like, oh, we're telling one long story each season. All right, we've had 29 hours of this crap, and it's not good.
Yeah, see?
I'm just saying.
Wait, you're talking about the Orville, right?
No, I'm talking about Discovery.
Oh.
Well, that's it. And again, that's I really appreciate Deep Space Nine because they're that, and it's funny. The Supergirl story editor. Eric Carrasco, he said the same thing. He's like, I'm really glad, because I said, he's leaving Supergirl, and he goes, I just kind of think it's the right time. And I said, well, I can imagine the pressure of trying to make shows for the networks where you have to deliver 22 hours a season. And I'm like, we're all getting used to shorter seasons that are more to the point, and none of these throwaway episodes. And I use The Flash as an example, and I'm like, when we knew Zoom was the big bad, and we were in those final 10 episodes or even final 5 episodes, you'd have all these fillers of little side stories, and it's like, look, we all know it's going to be Barry against Zoom. Let's go. Let's get to the finish. Let's go. And he goes, yeah, but I'm really glad I learned this way. And in the case of Deep Space Nine, they were doing 25 episodes a season, and they were doing 20. I mean, the stories were connected, but even in that last 10 episodes of the final season, that is one long story. You could pretty much point to stuff and say, Artie's ready to pot, he says. So I will call Artie. There he is. But yeah, they were still telling separate stories even in those final episodes of that final season and everything. And so that's the thing.
Yep.